Shalom, 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 guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. I welcome you back. My name is Susan. Oh my goodness, it really has been a minute. So much has been happening, but all in all, the devil is a liar. I believe that you're well and God has kept you well, and we are all grateful to be alive. Oh, I want to thank you guys so much for subscribing into my channel. Thank you so much, so much, so much for subscribing. I also thank you for liking and commenting and sharing. May God richly bless you. May God increase you. May God do it for you as you do it to others. In Jesus' name. I am so excited today for being here with you again. I mean, it has really been a challenge to record this video. But all in all, God is faithful. And here I am. Today, I want to talk about a sensitive topic that has been happening to all of us around us, our families, our friends, and even to us. And yet, people don't seem to notice what is happening and what is going on. And this is the issue of generational curses in our lives. How you are able actually to identify that there is a generational curse in your life or in your family or in those around you. How to detect the generational curse. So now, generational curses, to those that understand the things of the spirit, they are able to detect them very, very easily. But for those that actually have no understanding of the spiritual realm, maybe now the only way you can know is when someone tells you, like I'm going to tell you, or maybe you can hear from someone about it. But there are those people who understand the things of the spirit and they can be able to actually tell what is going on in their own lives. And I will use an example of people I know, even in my family background, that has been affected by these curse, generational curses. And in this case, I'm going to refer you to the book of, I hope you have been up to my challenge about getting yourself a Bible. And today I will urge you to read it, the book of Exodus chapter 20 verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. You can continue reading a bit further because it talks about these generational curses and what happens, and also what happens to those that love him. So you can continue to read there for yourself. The reason why I read here is because I want you to know that this generational curses, it moves from one generation to the other as it goes down. Unless it is disconnected or it is cut, it's going to continue to the next and the next and the next generation. Now, one of the signs to know that there is a generational curse in your life, or in the life of your loved ones, or in the life of your friends and the people around you, this is number one, how you can tell that there is a generational curse, is actually, one of them is late marriages or no marriages at all. You find that in your family, there are people that are not getting married. Or if they get married, they don't stay in their marriages. And some, they get married later in life, way late in life. That is actually one of the ways to know that there's actually a generational curse in one's life. Another sign of a generational curse is barrenness in the family, among the women, or sometimes it can be men. The only way that can be found out if it is a man, you can go for checkup from the doctors and they can tell. Most of the time they say that it is a low sperm count, among men. And for women, they say maybe they don't have enough ovaries, you know. But the reason, the major reason mostly behind this is a generational curse. I'm going to use an example of someone in the Bible. I'm going to use Sarai. You know, we all know about Sarai, the wife of Abraham, who was called Sarah later. Sarah had a problem conceiving, and eventually she got to have a promised child who was Isaac. And then when Isaac was ready to marry, you will hear his father Abraham sending someone to go to actually his uncle's on the wife's side, which is Sarai, and get a daughter from the uncle to get married to Isaac. And in this case, it was Rebecca. And you also find that Rebecca had a problem conceiving. Rebecca will later conceive and give birth to twins, who is Jacob and Esau. Then again, we will see a situation whereby it happens that Jacob will go to his uncle Laban on his mom's side, who is Rebecca. And when Jacob goes there, he falls in love with his uncle's daughter, who is called Rachel. And when he falls in love with Rachel, we will find that Rachel had a problem conceiving. Now, can you see this generational curse that is moving from one generation to the other? This issue of barrenness. Now, we will actually come to another generational curse that you will identify it. This is the spirit of poverty. You find that a certain family that in their lives they've always suffered from the spirit of poverty. And it has been moving from one generation to the other and to the other. I mean, you can be able to tell that their grandmother was poor, their mother was poor, and they are also experiencing the same thing. That is one way of identifying a generational curse in one's life. Another generational curse that actually operates in our lives today, and most people really don't notice it, they rather think it is a normal thing. It is the early death or premature death in our families, in our loved ones, and the people around us. You will realize that people are dying way early in life when they are still young. And it is happening in a certain family. You know, all the time you hear in your neighborhood, there's always someone who is dying in in one of the families around you. And then when you look at these people, they're young. They're young and they're dying young. You know, the Bible says God does not delight in the death of, or in premature death or the death of the young ones. So that's also an issue of how you identify premature death in the family. That is a generational curse. Now, let us go to another curse that is actually in our families, and actually this one people really think it's normal, and the way they talk about it, it's a normal thing. Honestly, I mean, let me use this in my family. These sicknesses, you know, there's some sicknesses that are in our families that people relate to them, and actually they can identify themselves with these sicknesses. You find that in this family, people are suffering from a certain sickness. Let me use my family, for example. From my family, people suffer from diabetes. And we have found that from my great-grandfather to my grandfather and to my grandmothers and to my fathers, to my uncles and aunties, they have suffered diabetes. And now they identify themselves with diabetes. You know, they can say diabetes is in our family. No, that's a curse. And that's why it's coming down from one generation to another, and it's moving down. Unless this curse is broken or it is disconnected and cut off, this curse is going to go down to one generation after another, after another. Now, one of the last things I'm going to talk about today about generational curses and how to identify it's a generational curse in the family is the issue of drunkenness. You find that in a certain family, the men of the family or the women or both, they are drunkards. They engage themselves in drinking alcohol. And you find that this alcohol, drinking alcohol is not actually benefiting them, actually it benefits no one. So now you find that this has happened from one generation to another and to another. This is one of the few generational curses that in our lives. I would want you to look at your family, to look at yourself and see what has been happening that will actually determine there is a generational curse in a family. You can actually identify maybe people who are called a certain name, there's something that happened to these people, they have something in common. Try and search within yourself and look at the families and the people around you and identify whether this is happening, and you will know that this is a generational curse that needs to be broken. It needs to be cut off, it needs to be disconnected in order for things to run smoothly. And when they are disconnected, things actually change. You know, the sickness will stop, the dying will stop, spirit of poverty will disappear, drunkenness will stop when this generational curse is actually broken. And this generational the curse, it actually manifests itself. So it will not be very hard for you to identify it, because you will see it manifesting from one person to another, and you can be able to tell that this actually is the manifestation of this generational curse in one's life. Another generational curse that I can talk about is the spirit of polygamy. You know, that you find in the certain family, the men marry many wives and then they think it's okay. No, it's actually a spirit. It's a polygamous spirit that always manifests itself by someone marrying a second wife, a third wife, or rather the fourth wife. And this curse, the only way it can stop is for it to be disconnected from the roots so that it can come to an end. Today, I will talk about these few generational curses, the signs of how to identify generational curses in one's life. And actually, I will continue there more, but today I'm going to reach there. I hope this helps you. I hope you are able to identify whether there's a generational curse in your families. I pray that the Lord will reveal this to you. I pray that the Lord will help you. I pray that you'll continue praying, and for the Lord to reveal to you on how you can go about breaking these generational curses, of which I will cover this later on how to break the generational curses. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel. I'm always excited about talking the things of God. I hope that you're blessed. Please continue interacting. May you drop your messages down in the message section. Hit that button, like, continue subscribing, and may God bless you. May God enrich you. May God bless you abundantly. I pray that the Lord will give you peace, the peace that surpasses all human understanding. I leave you with this. Thank you so much, and see you next time on my next video. God bless you.